The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus again in reply spoke to the chief priests and the elders of the people in parables, saying, "The kingdom of heaven may be likened to a king who gave a wedding feast for his son. He dispatched his servants to summon the invited guests to the feast, but they refused to come. A second time he sent other servants, saying, 'Tell those invited, behold, I have prepared my banquet. My calves and fatted cattle are killed, and everything is ready. Come to the feast.' Some ignored the invitation and went away, one to his farm, another to his business. The rest laid hold of his servants, mistreated them, and killed them. The king was enraged and sent his troops, destroyed those murderers, and burned their city. Then the king said to his servants, 'The feast is ready, but those who were invited were not worthy to come. Go out, therefore, into the main roads and invite to the feast whomever you find.' The servants went out into the streets and gathered all they found, bad and good alike, and the hall was filled with guests. But when the king came in to meet the guests, he saw a man there not dressed in a wedding garment. He said to him, 'My friend, how is it that you came in here without a wedding garment?' But he was reduced to silence. And the king said to his attendants, 'Bind his hands and his feet, and cast him into the darkness outside, where there will be wailing and grinding of teeth. Many are invited, but few are chosen.'" The Gospel of the Lord. Just a few questions this morning. Could anybody tell me what day of the week it is? What day of the week is it? Was that Thursday? Very good, it's Thursday. But we don't normally have school mass on Thursday, do we? What day do we normally have school mass? What day? Friday. So what are we doing? Why are we in the church today on Thursday? Yes, sir. Good. It's the feast day of St. Pius. I was hoping that we would get that right on the first try. Good. It's the feast day of St. Pius. Did anybody notice the special guest that we have today? Did anybody notice who's the special guest today? Oh, well, okay, yeah, Mr. Barwick is here. I didn't want to ignore him. But there's someone even more special. Welcome, Mr. Barwick, our superintendent. Who else is here? It might be a little bit more special than Mr. Barwick. Do you know? Did you see him?
I do see my Aunt Jenny.
Okay, your Aunt Jenny's here. So that's a very good guess. But there's a guest here who maybe has 2 candles next to him.
St. Pius X.
Yeah, St. Pius is right here. See this? It's St. Pius. Why would you say that this is St. Pius? Any ideas? Why? It is. It's a little piece of his bone. You see the little tiny? Yeah. It's a little piece of his bone. So it's like St. Pius is here because we have a piece of him. He's right here with us. Who could tell me, actually, you know what? Second grade. What are y'all preparing for this year? What are you preparing to do in the spring this year? Pray. Okay, that's part of it. Okay, you're going to a birthday party. But remember, I came into your classroom earlier in the year and we talked about the very special thing that you get to do in second grade. Do you remember? First communion. Very good. You're going to receive your first communion this year. All right, so your first communion this year, does anybody know why? Whose idea it was to have first communion in second grade? I don't know, this is a hard question. Whose idea was it that you should have your first communion in second grade? Oh my goodness, yes, it was Pope St. Pius X. That's very good. Yes, it was his idea that you should have communion in second grade. Why? This is the hardest question, but perhaps the most important. Why did Pope St. Pius X say that everybody should receive their first communion for the first time when they are 7 years old in second grade? Why did he say it? Miss McGinley? Right, he wanted them to receive at the age of reason. Because before St. Pius, you had to wait until you're 12. Who's 12 years old? Who's 12 right now? You're not 12 years old yet. So 12, that's what? 7th grade? 6th grade? 7th grade? Something in there, right? So he moved it up 5 whole years. He moved it 5 years so that everybody could have Jesus more often. Because when he became the Pope, it was kind of almost rare to receive communion. How often, Connor, how often do you receive communion? Maybe once a week. Sometimes you receive it more than once. Like during the school year, at least twice. And then sometimes you serve the 7:15 Mass, and that's maybe 3 or 4 times. So at least once a week. At least. When Pope Pius became the Pope, people were only going to communion once a year. Is that enough? Is it enough to only go to communion once a year? No. No, it is not enough to go to communion only once a year. But he also, when he moved the age of reason, or when he moved the age of reception to 7 years old, second grade, he also encouraged adults to do something more often so they could go to communion more often. What was the thing that he encouraged adults to do more often for communion, so that they could go to communion? Do you know? Yeah. Yes, exactly. He encouraged adults to go to confession more often, because the reason that they didn't go to communion was because they felt like they were too sinful. And so he said, well, then go to confession. You too sinful for communion? There's a room right there with a weird light switch on it that we can help solve that problem. Who's going to confession today after Mass? Is it 7th grade? All right, so 7th grade. What a cool thing. Y'all get to go to confession right after Mass on the Feast of St. Pius. And by the way, that's why we changed it. That's why we changed it, so that you all get to go to confession more often. Right? We cycle through every class. So next, we're 6th grade. 6th grade. So you get to go next week. And then 5th grade the week after you. And then 4th grade, then we're going to go all the way around. And then you get to go to confession 3 or 4 times in the year rather than only twice. Why? Because Pope St. Pius X said you should go to communion more often. And to go to communion more often means we probably need to go to confession more often. So Pope St. Pius X gave us all of these gifts to the church so we could come to him with our hearts open, ready to receive Jesus. Let's together stand to bring all of our prayers before our loving God.